In 1987, under a moonless Iowa sky, something fell that should not have fallen. A farmer hiding in the brush pressed a button on a military-grade shortwave. Words that would change everything. Control. This is Sentinel. Visual confirmed. They're here.
Perfect insertion. The cloak is holding. No one saw.
The cloaked observation satellite settled into geostationary orbit, its instruments already sweeping the prairie below. 13 minutes later, in a windowless room beneath Omaha, a dozen analysts gathered around a radar printout. The signal was unmistakable. A craft of non-human origin, descending with precision, then vanishing from every sensor. The lead analyst's voice was calm but urgent. They're cloaked, and they think we didn't see. From that night forward, every farm, every main street, every child's baseball game became a stage.
Fascinating. A Tier -3 civilization, ripe for long-term study. They have no idea I am here.
By 1990, Threxcar filed his first quarterly report. Human agriculture, family structures, primitive digital networks.
They celebrate harvests with music and fried dough. Charming, but hopelessly inefficient. The family unit clusters around a table. They call it dinner, a ritual of shared sustenance.
In a sunlit field, a child paused mid-game, squinting at the empty air where Threxcar stood cloaked.
Those eyes, for one heartbeat, they seemed to look straight at me. But then the mother called.
The mother yanked the child away, scolding about strangers. Threxcar dismissed it as primitive superstition. By 2005, he documented their digital infancy. Clunky screens, beige towers, the slow crawl of information through copper.
They measure their world in bytes now, still shackled to electromagnetic noise and physical wires.
He submitted his first comprehensive Tier -3 assessment. Humanity was peaceful, industrious, and centuries from a credible threat.
A perfect specimen for long-term study. No threat, no surprises.
But the real story began a year earlier. Inside the farmhouse, built on that very land, a young farmer sat across from 3 men in dark suits, their briefcases stamped with no agency seal. The lead agent slid a paper across the table. It read, "You will host a visitor from the stars. Your family will maintain the facade for as long as necessary." The farmer looked at the photograph of his children on the mantel. His voice did not waver. "We'll do it for as long as it takes." And that night, the continuity protocol became a Reeves family tradition, passed down like the land itself. 27 years later, in 2015, the alien observer finally turned his attention to the farmhouse.
The elder sits on the porch, watching the sunset. So typical, so human. He has no idea he's being studied. No idea his every move is recorded. A simple farmer, with simple truths. A good control subject. I will call him Subject 1. The baseline for all my data.
The calendar pages turned. For Threxcar, the decades blurred into a single, unchanging portrait of humanity.
Look at this factory. Still using combustion-based manufacturing. Adorable. Their architecture hasn't evolved in 3 generations. A species content to repeat itself.
He entered his assessment into the coalition database. Cultural stagnation observed. No credible technological leaps. What his sensors failed to detect, buried in asteroid shadows, was a shipyard the size of a moon. Robotic arms pieced together kilometer-long dreadnoughts, each one a declaration of war waiting to happen. A star map, hidden from him, showed 10 new colonial holdings, each with a growing population and a patriotic flag.
No evidence of extraterrestrial ambition, no drive to conquer. They will never leave their cradle.
And in Iowa, an old man whispered to a boy, and the boy nodded. his eyes far too serious for his age. The gap between the performance and the truth grew wider with every passing year. In the year 2250, Threxkar decided to walk among the humans. A ground-level inspection of their largest city.
Wait, that building's facade is cracked beneath the stone. Is that a modern composite? It looks deliberately aged. A preservation method. Humans do value their history.
His hollow tablet highlighted the discrepancy. Polymer fiber under faux granite. But he labeled it cultural anomaly.
They construct new buildings to look old. Strange, but not threatening.
He moved through a bustling market. Vendors hawked fruit. Children laughed. Everything seemed perfectly mundane.
Why is it so perfectly mundane? Too perfected. Number. I am projecting.
He sat in his quarters, logging the observation. The language he chose? Architectural preservation tendency.
I've been observing for centuries. A tiny inconsistency means nothing.
The report filed. The seed of doubt lay buried. Only time and a mistake could uncover it. In 2300, he stepped into a museum dedicated to human prehistory. The exhibits were immaculate.
This stone axe marked 1000 BC. Yet the wear pattern is too regular, almost manufactured.
His hollow tablet hummed a silent alert, flagging micro-residue inconsistent with primitive crafting.
An educational replica. Museums often display reproductions. That explains it.
Nearby, a child pointed at the axe. The parent yanked the small arm down, whispering sharply.
She hides something. What? But perhaps only the child's reaching hands. 2 anomalies in 2 centuries. A statistician would call that noise.
He added a line to his cultural report. Minor inconsistencies in artifact authenticity require no intervention.
4 centuries of observation confirm their primitiveness. I will not let paranoia ruin this.
But the cracks in the facade were now visible. If only he dared to look. In 2330, Threxkar lingered over a suburban home, watching a family dinner.
The father laughs at the mother's joke, exactly on cue. As if rehearsed, even the child's protest about vegetables sounds practiced. Too perfect.
He pulled up the biosigns recording. No stress indicators, just an unnatural calm.
Every family I observe performs this same rhythm. Is this a cultural ritual I've missed?
Back in his pod, he pulled up a random sampling of old footage, decades of dinners. Identical structure.
The same pauses. The same glances. A template.
He cross-referenced with his grandfather's journals. The same pattern, centuries earlier.
My grandfather noted pleasant but repetitive family dynamics. Did he suspect something?
But the conclusion remained out of reach. He filed the pattern as cultural cohesion. The search continued, while Threxkar chased shadows in his data. Humanity's true expansion accelerated beyond all his projections. Automated shipyards in the Kuiper Belt assembled dreadnoughts in silence, their hulls absorbing every stray scan. The colonial star map, hidden from the observer, now showed 50 inhabited systems, each a triumph of quiet ambition. A command bunker beneath the Rockies coordinated fleet movements that would have lit up any coalition sensor if they weren't masked by the very cloak Threxkar used. And still, the observer saw only what he expected.
50 more years of data confirm the pattern. They are content within their single world.
He composed his 2380 hemispheric stability report. His words would become a monument to hubris.
Recommendation: humanity remains tier -3, permanently non-threatening.
He transmitted it to Coalition Command, the signal bouncing off a human picket ship that did not officially exist. In Iowa, the 4th William Reeves watched the sun set from his porch. His hidden tablet displayed a simple message, 50, all quiet, years after the confident report. A routine archival sweep flagged an anomaly in Threxcar's own database. A cultural index reading from 2080 spiked to levels inconsistent with a tier -3 society, as if a powerful civilization had blinked.
That can't be right. The sensors must have glitched.
He pulled a photograph from public archives, a skyline from that decade, and overlaid it against his own footage.
The buildings are taller in the public photo. My footage shows smaller structures. Deliberate staging?
For the first time, he voiced the thought he had buried for centuries.
Has my entire observation been a performance?
His hands trembled as he initiated a deeper scan, searching for the pattern he had always dismissed.
If this is deception, it is the most elaborate in history, and I am its subject.
The seed of doubt, watered by a single data point, began to sprout into something terrifying. He initiated a full-spectrum reanalysis, mining every byte of archived data for the lie. His probes slipped past the firewalls of unredacted human archives, revealing a history he had never been allowed to see.
Every city I visited, there is a second, hidden infrastructure, underground transit, shielded power grids.
Overlaying his recorded data with the new images, the discrepancies screamed. Street layouts altered, populations misreported. Then, buried in a forgotten cultural log from the 1950s, he found a single frame that stopped his heart.
A man, winking, directly at the optical lens of my grandfather's hidden surveillance unit.
The man's lips moved, and though silent, the message was unmistakable. We see you. 4 centuries of meticulous reports crumbled. He had not been observing a primitive world. He had been the test subject in a grand experiment. Now his tablet unsealed the truth. 90 colonized star systems, fleets in the void, all hidden beneath a mask of simplicity. His mission was a failure. But a new, terrible resolve formed. He would go to the source. He would confront the farmhouse. He isolated the wink frame from the 1950s log. The man's face was not just any face. He cross-referenced it with a photograph from public records, a sepia image of a farm family taken in 1910.
William Reeves. The same name, passed from father to son. My family studied theirs for 4 centuries.
The pattern was undeniable. From the first landing, the farmhouse had been the stage for the greatest performance in human history.
They knew. From the very first moment. They watched us, watching them, and we never suspected.
He plotted a quiet descent, scrubbing his departure from every coalition sensor log. No one would know he had left.
This is not observation. It is a pilgrimage to the ones who outplayed me across 4 centuries.
He brought the tablet with the winking man. He would show them the evidence of their own deception. The pod slipped through the atmosphere, silent and unseen. Below, the farmhouse grew larger on his screen.
I am no longer a scientist. I am the proof of their success.
The pod touched down silently in a cornfield, its cloak dissolving like morning mist. Threxcar stepped onto soil he had observed from orbit for centuries.
Walking this path felt unreal. Every corn stalk a sentinel, every sound rehearsed.
The farmhouse porch was bathed in the evening light, and sitting in the old rocking chair, as if waiting for a delivery, was William Reeves.
He knew I was coming. Of course he did.
You are late, observer. We expected you a decade ago.
The words hung in the air, a casual greeting that unmade 4 centuries of certainty. Threxcar's fingers tightened on the hollow tablet.
You knew, from the very beginning.
From the night your grandfather's ship landed in our field. We've been hosting you ever since.
Why? Why the elaborate performance?
William smiled, a calm, ancient smile that held the weight of generations. He gestured to the empty chair beside him. William rose, his knees cracking, and led the way inside. The screen door squeaked like any farmhouse door should.
Coffee, it's real. Grown about a mile from here. None of that synthesized stuff.
I didn't come here for your hospitality.
William didn't answer. He walked to the floral papered wall, hooked a finger into a seam, and peeled it back beneath the faded roses. A sleek quantum router pulsed with soft blue light. Threxkar's breath caught.
My great-great-grandfather spotted your grandfather's landing in 1987. He was the first sentinel. Every Reeve since has played the role.
4 centuries. My family's observations, their lives, all wasted on a stage built just for us.
Not wasted, studied. You were our window into the coalition. We learned from you, and we grew in the shadows.
Everything I filed, the families, the factories, the museums, all of it was a performance.
William picked up his coffee, steam curling. His eyes held the same knowing calm that had greeted Threxkar on the porch.
90 colonies. Dreadnoughts in the void. How long have you been? Waiting?
Long enough to know we'd only get one chance at a first impression. If the coalition saw us as a threat, we'd never survive.
William tapped the tablet, and the kitchen wall dissolved into a live feed of an orbiting dreadnought. Threxkar stumbled back.
This is a Tier -1 military asset. You've hidden an entire fleet for centuries.
Not an attack fleet, a defense. We knew the coalition's reports determined a species' fate, so we gave you what you needed to see.
Images flashed, underground cities, orbital shipyards, fleets numbering in the thousands, all hidden beneath the cloak of the coalition's own technology.
You used our own observation protocols against us. The greatest intelligence deception in galactic history.
We learned from the best observer. Your family gave us a front-row seat to the coalition's methods.
The star map pulsed again, now 90 systems, each a silent colony born in the shadow of an alien's eyes.
My entire career, a service to their empire. I feel violated, and yet I admire it. I was your lab rat, a specimen in a cage of your making.
A guest, Threxkar. My grandfather hosted your grandfather at this very table. We never locked the door.
He's right. I remember footage of my grandfather here. The old man offered him sweetbread.
William set down the coffee pot and leaned back, his voice carrying the weight of a truth he'd waited a lifetime to tell.
The corn is real. The coffee is real. The sunsets you watched from your orbit, those were real. We just steered the narrative.
Threxkar stared at the steaming mug. The aroma was earthy, familiar. He remembered his father's log. The human beverage is called coffee.
My father drank this coffee. He wrote about its bitterness.
We never harmed you. We never lied about who we are in our hearts. We just needed time to grow strong enough to be seen as equals.
Equals. They played me for 4 centuries, yet they served my family coffee and watched sunsets with us.
The scent of fresh-cut hay drifted through the screen door. Outside, a real wind moved real corn, and for a moment, the galaxy's greatest lie felt almost gentle.
But you deceived us. How is that not a violation of every ethical principle?
And you observed us without consent. Your reports would determine our fate, who violated whom first.
The Coalition Charter grants us the right to assess emerging species. It's the law.
A charter written by the powerful, never the observed. We chose to define our own assessment.
He's twisting my own convictions against me. This isn't about law. It's about survival.
We didn't harm you. We gave you a story you could believe. The lie was our shield.
A shield built on our own technology. You stole our cloaking field.
We borrowed it, and now you see what we built with it.
Threxcar had no answer. The moral ground felt like quicksand. He stared at the darkening corn. The farmhouse stood silent under the coming storm, its windows glowing with an unresolved question. A sound like tearing silk split the evening air. Above the cornfield, a coalition shuttle shed its cloak. The ramp lowered with a hydraulic hiss. A coalition officer in crisp uniform descended, her 3 yellow eyes fixed on Threxcar.
Observer Threxcar, you have abandoned your post. Cease all contact and return to Coalition custody immediately.
They traced my pod. I should have known. I was never as invisible as I believed.
William stepped onto the porch, calm as if greeting a neighbor. He looked past the officer to Threxcar.
Your people are prompt. We had dinner ready an hour ago, but you are just in time for coffee.
This does not concern you, human. Stand aside.
Oh, it concerns me greatly. I've known this observer longer than you have, 4 centuries, in fact.
The officer's expression flickered, confusion, then a dawning dread. William turned to Threxcar.
It's your choice, Threxcar. Leave and tell them what you've learned, or stay and see who we truly are.
My mission is no longer the Coalition's. I have a new directive.
The officer's hand twitched toward her holster. Her 3 eyes narrowed, but she held position.
You are committing treason, observer. Return with me now, or face the consequences.
Then let it be treason. For the first time in 4 centuries, I understand.
Without another word, the officer retreated up the ramp, her gaze a fury of confusion as the hatch sealed. The shuttle shot upward, its cloak re-engaging, leaving only the wind rustling the corn. But the sky did not return to normal. Pinpricks of light began to break through the darkness. They were not stars. Hulls, darker than space, peeled away from nothing, one after another.
Not an invasion fleet. A declaration. We were never the judge.
Now you see who we truly are. This is the empire you helped build.
The dreadnoughts remained overhead, but Threxcar's gaze had fallen to the corn. William gestured toward a path between the stalks.
The empire I helped build, and I never saw it.
They walked in silence for a moment, the rustle of leaves a soft chorus. William spoke without turning.
We never wanted to conquer, Threxcar, just to live without the weight of someone else's judgment.
I was blind for 4 centuries. Every report, every observation, a monument to my own arrogance.
You observed what we allowed. That doesn't make you a fool.
The alien's robe caught on a dried corn leaf. He brushed it away, the gesture somehow unfamiliar on his own frame.
May I help with the harvest? I have studied agriculture for centuries, but never touched the soil.
I'll teach you. The Reeves family has always believed in passing on what we know.
The first stars appeared, and somewhere above them, 90 empires watched. But down here, only 2 beings walked home. Later that night, Threxcar sat on the worn porch steps, the hollow tablet balanced on his knees. He opened a new report file, the cursor blinking. The title, Final Observation.
For 4 centuries, we believed we observed a primitive species. The truth, we were the primitives.
His fingers moved, translating centuries of shame into a single sentence. We were never watching them, they were watching us. Below it, he attached the evidence. The wink, the hidden routers, the 90 colonies. He pressed send. The transmission raced toward Coalition space, carrying the weight of a new truth. The dreadnoughts still hung in the sky, silent witnesses to the admission.
They are not a threat. They are a promise.
A strange peace settled over him. Not the peace of ignorance, but of understanding. He closed the tablet and listened to the corn rustle. For the first time, He felt like a part of this world. Morning broke clean and golden over the farm. Threk's car stepped out, the screen door creaking, and walked toward the coop. William's granddaughter was already there, tossing handfuls of grain to the clucking flock. She handed him a small bucket and said, "Gramps said you wanted to try. They like when you call them by name."
I have cataloged their species, but not their names. The black one with the red comb, her name is Bessie.
The girl giggled. "Close. That's Bertha. Bessie is the speckled one." Threk's car smiled, a genuine, unpracticed smile, and tossed grain to Bertha. From the porch, William watched with coffee in hand, a quiet satisfaction on his weathered face.
This is observation, but not the way I knew. I am part of the pattern now.
The sun rose higher, and for the first time in 4 centuries, Threk's car did not record a single data point. That evening, Threk's car stood at the edge of the cornfield, looking up. The dreadnoughts were now permanent constellations, a reminder of the quiet empire he had never seen. He thought of his grandfather, father, and himself. 3 generations of observers, all observed. The hollow tablet on the porch blinked with an incoming transmission. The coalition seal. He opened it. A single line, acknowledged, new assessment. Humanity is invited to join the coalition as equals. Threk's car stared at the words, then looked back at the dreadnoughts. A long breath escaped him. The galaxy would meet them on their own terms now. He walked to the chicken coop, the grain bucket heavy in his hand. As the sun sank, he scattered feed, the clucking a familiar rhythm. Bertha and Bessie pecked eagerly, and in that simple, honest act, he found a new kind of observation, one without secrets, without lies. He was home.